Hello and welcome back to Let's Replay Mystery Case Files Return to Ravenhearst. I'm MCFPapa and this is part 10. And an interesting factoid is the hint will even recharge if you hit the pause button. And good lord, why was the raven so loud? I apologize for the sake of your eardrums. I don't know what was up with that. I just wanted to point out the hint recharges so you could get a hint and then hit the pause button, because the timer doesn't tick when you're paused. So if you really want to still maintain a low time, you could do that. As a kid, I didn't understand why the cable car had returned when Victor moved us, but then, of course, I figured out, oh, Victor must have used it to bring us back to Ravenhearst. Now, here's a certificate of some sort. Be pleased to admit Charles Dalmar into the lunatic asylum as patient with anomaly. Severe delusions of grandeur and lock-key obsession. Patient believes in magical devices used to manipulate the deceased. Suggests bleeding, leech purging, and shock therapy. Patient to remain bound and sedated at all times. Name Samuel Bodkins, admitted on the application of Abigail R. Dalmar. Basically explaining that his own mother was the one who admitted him to the asylum. And even though we visit the asylum, we never experience the bleeding or leech purging treatments in Escape from Ravenhearst. Maybe they thought those would be too gruesome. After making my way back to Victor's cottage, I made sure to peek in the windows and re-entered after verifying his absence. I've got to search for clues quickly. Update. I have discovered an alarming tidbit in Victor's bedroom. A framed patient admission form hangs above the nightstand next to his bed. After cleaning the dirty glass, I am presented with a disturbing glimpse of Charles's past. Apparently, his obsession with the supernatural has gone on for some time. Even his own mother knew he had some serious issues. There's a tripod. I wonder what that's for. And then this sequence always is the same. Skull and crossbones, devil, left, right. Skull and crossbones, devil, left, center, right, evil. Because that's the only distinguishing thing I could think of for that thing. So, skull and crossbones, devil, left, center, right, evil. And then in here...
Father, you must be drained from your journey to the carnival. We'll get you back into your chamber so you can feel the warm embrace of your family. Their souls will make you warm again.
It is very cool that they actually animated their shadows moving in this window too. Oh, and of course I could turn on the music again. I turned it off for the phonograph last part. I just overheard Victor and Charles outside the cottage. Charles has returned. There is little time. I've got to finish my search of the cottage without detection, or I too may find myself a permanent part of this mystery. What did Victor mean by, "We'll get you back in your chamber so you can feel the warm embrace of your family"? I'm terrified by what that means, but it's too late to turn back now. And there's pictures of him. Kind of narcissistic, him framing pictures of himself in here. To do, hide matches and teddy bear, patrol grounds, grease the soul chamber, take my pills. At least they explain that Victor's the one who hid the matches in the tortured teddy bear. Doesn't really explain why he did it, but at least explains he's the one who did it. And something weird in this game is that Charles doesn't even really appear much in it. Especially given, like, how at the end of Madame Fate, he's like threatening you and stuff, so you'd think, oh, he's a major entity in this game, but he isn't. Maybe they were planning already for the events of Escape from Ravenhearst, so they wanted to just save a lot of the focus on Charles for that game. I don't know. There's a bunch of miscellaneous sciencey mumbo-jumbo here for cleaning out the soul chamber. And I guess Victor keeps a quill pen in his desk too. And now this puzzle gave me a lot of problems as a kid, but all you gotta do is do 3 rotations in the upper left and then 3 in the bottom right, and it's solved. Wow. My dearest son, I have entrusted you to maintain the grounds and various mechanisms in and about the estate. Any disturbance to our family will cause my plan to fail. Divert the attention of curious parties by any means at your disposal. Prying eyes should be closed permanently. Remember that I have left you reminders to the elevator combination about the property. I am counting on you, son, so please do not fail me. Your loving father, Charles. Well, isn't that nice? He's such a loving father. I found a soiled reminder note on the floor of Victor's study. Charles has apparently charged Victor to maintain Ravenhearst Manor and the surrounding grounds. The passage about prying eyes grips me with anxiety at the image of still being trapped in the attic. Remember that I have left you reminders. I wonder if these are related to the unusual numbered sequences I came upon at the front gate and other locations during my investigation. Yeah, that'll even show up if you actually didn't get the front gate secret. Because you don't need to view the plaque there. But here's one on the weather vane. The chest in Victor's study was secured with a tricky padlock, but it was no match for crafty detective work. Opening the chest exposed a brass telescope amid a pile of smelly overalls. I paused briefly to consider what Victor would use the telescope to view when I remembered the tripod near the window in the upstairs bedroom. After placing the telescope on the tripod, I peered into the eyepiece and made a revealing discovery. The weather vane atop Ravenhearst Manor was crafted in ornate iron, and its design imparted another unusual numerical sequence. Wow. How about that? And yeah, I'll do this now. So there's a domino puzzle to do to get into here, and I'd say this is probably one of the best puzzles in this game. What's easiest though to start out with is to just look for the unique ones that don't show up anywhere else. Like, there are 2 possible double 2s, but there's only 1 double 1 and 1 double 3, and therefore the blank and 5 has to be there. And as for double 4, there's just this one. And as for double 5, there's just that one. So that narrows down quite a few of the potential things. And as for blank and 3, this is the only one possible. So therefore, the double 2 has to be there, and those 2s have to be their own separate things. There we go. Not too bad. And then there's this interior with another picture of Victor, and not much else in it except for this scene where we need to collect the first of the 10 jeweled hearts. Now, why would they have us finding a snuff bottle? Oh, well, I guess in 1895, like, I guess people still did snuff and that. Not really something you associate with modern day, though. Oh, that's a pencil sharpener, not a coffee grinder. Oh, I thought that was the coil. It's always nice when you click on something and find an object you weren't actually intending to find. Alright. So yay, got the jeweled heart. And now it's time to go back to Roseville. Go down to the middle floor. Could have gone here a lot sooner, like the moment I got the coin, but it's much simpler to just wait till now. just focus the telescope and then move it over to see the buoy. I dropped the coin I received after winning that weird whack-a-troll game into the slot near the telescope. A brief mechanical articulation confirmed my suspicions and unlocked the lens adjustment knobs. Upon closer inspection with the telescope, the distant buoy displays a cryptic number pattern, not unlike the one near the gated entrance to Ravenhearst Manor. What purpose could these diagrams serve? I guess maybe you're supposed to find this one second, because it references the gate, like, oh, it's the second one you found. Not sure. But anyway, now, with the skull, we can unlock it. So, you're just supposed to figure out the puzzles for each of these. So this one, the spade is 5, because you sum up the numbers and then they become the next level. This one goes pretty quick too without putting in the numbers. And now the weather vane, it's that the inside one is the difference of the two on the outside. So here it's 300 for the club. And it's handy that it even gives you a beep to let you know that you're correct. Oh, there it is. And now here too, it's the sum of the two triangles. So for the diamond it's 6, because that's 9, and then 6, which makes 15. And then flip all the way to the very beginning of your journal. So maybe it would actually come in handy to not investigate that plaque until a lot later in the game, so you wouldn't have to scroll back as much. But now for this one, it's 76, I believe. And there it's plus 8 plus 2 plus 16 plus 2 plus 24. Wait, no. Well, I don't know. It's 76. Just remember that. But now with the code successfully entered, we can finally get down to the bottom level. And then here, this room actually offers like no purpose to progress, really. It's just a creepy photo of Charles, and then this detailing his plans for the soul machine. Failure again. The tank's outlet velocity will never maintain critical flow of host essence. Dynamic distillation is clearly required. And it took me probably 3-4 years before I realized you could actually flip the pages here to read other stuff. Bunch of sciencey mumbo jumbo. Almost there. Soon I will take her hand once more. Their souls will be so warming. And then here, wishing, longing, hoping will never set you free. It's the greatest sort of pain that your heart will ever see. After years of failure, I finally achieved success. My family will act as batteries as I cross between life and death for all eternity. The machine must never be shut down. And we can see the twins and Rose, and then the spare chamber. I wonder if the spare chamber is supposed to be for Emma? I'm not sure. Then we flip another page. Process on the journey device continues unabated. Soon the time will come for a test sequence to be presented. And that just cycles back through. After making my way into Charles's inner sanctum, I've discovered a dusty tome full of notes and drawings that describe in minute detail the plans for all sorts of abnormal contraptions. Page after page divulges the depths of madness required to attempt the crafting of some kind of unworldly pumping system. The diagrams patently illustrate what I have already witnessed during my exploration of the nightmare beneath Ravenhearst Manor. I must locate and shut down the central machine that permits the heinous atrocities carried out within this horrible place. I must. First, a hidden object scene for the second jeweled heart. Here's an altar with Victor's picture and then Emma's. Gotta take the blindfold off her by finding it. Huh. Percussion hammer, I guess you could call it that. I would call it more of a doctor's hammer. Like, I hear percussion hammer and I think of like a mallet to play like a big drum or something. And that would probably be one crispy chip being baked for decades by a candle. Or maybe not decades, maybe only a short period of time. I guess Victor's the one who has to replace all these candles when they burn out. I bet he loves his job. That same Roman helmet again. That sure has gotten a lot of use in scenes over these games. And yay, got the next jeweled heart. Sweet Emma, in time you will forgive my sins. The world of the living will forever divide us, but I shall bind you close to me in the darkness of death. Fear not a solitary passage, dear love. In time I will send you a beautiful rose and her lovely daughters. Their fellowship will provide you everlasting comfort and grant me the gift of life. Yes, the locks will keep you, but in time they will rot. Even their great power is no rival for eternal ghostly scratchings. The only way to be with you and maintain the doors is by crossing the space between life and death. Your companions will give their souls to me so that I may have energy to remain within the void. I shall also bring you a son, one who will preserve Ravenhearst Manor as we dance within her walls for all eternity. Accept this locket as my final gift. May it forever remind you of our loving family. Yours forevermore, Charles. I have the eerie feeling I'm moving closer to the darkness that permeates the twisty passageways beneath the manor. A roughly hewn grotto deep beneath the surface pays homage to Ravenhearst's namesake by means of a shrine surrounded by several hundred candles. A letter snuggled beneath various offerings details Charles's ultimate and rather twisted intentions. The power contained within the ornate blocks appears susceptible to deterioration over time. Charles hints that he seeks to walk between life and death by somehow tapping into the energy provided by the souls of Rose and her daughters, like some kind of ghastly leech. This explains his existence after all these years. I must proceed with caution, else I too forfeit my life to fuel his madness. And then here's the locket that was shown in the opening cutscene of the game, and the opening cutscene that plays before the title screen has like nothing to actually do with the rest of the game, so I wonder if that was intended as some promotional trailer they just threw into the game, or what's up with that. A house built on love is a house eternal. A gold locket found dangling from a stone likeness of Emma Ravenhearst fits snugly into a door in the hallway on the lowest level of the underground complex. Snapping it in place has revealed 10 similar heart-shaped indentations. I should probably have a look around for additional objects that might act as keys to unlocking the door. The rhythm of fluid being pumped through the pipes overhead has an eerily similar resonance to the pulse of a beating heart. I am most fearful of what lies beyond. And it was weird how these, like, side things were only sporadically appearing, but then when you put the locket in, they all of the sudden all appear at once. But anyway, now it's time to hunt for the heart pieces, and I guess this is in a way reminiscent of the other classic games' final levels where you had to find something, like Ravenhearst with its keys, except here it's finding hearts. And there is a degree of randomization to it. Like, for example, here in the general store, there can be this hidden object seen as one you need, but if it's not here, it's under the parlor bed. See, right here. And basically, the first two hearts you find, the one in the Victor's cottage and the one at Emma's shrine, those always are in the same position. But the other 8 hearts have 2 potential hidden object scenes they could be in, and they're always randomized which one it is. But it's always a 50-50 chance, so if it isn't one, you know it's the other. And you can actually use this to save yourself some time, like for example exploring, going down in the cable car when you don't need to, or going in the elevator more times than you need to. And there's the heart in this scene. Okay. Got some redemption for needing to use a hint the first time I visited that. Can break the mannequin's head one last time. And we get to visit this scene a 4th time in this game, just because of how it appeared. And if this jeweled heart here can either appear in the this beauty parlor scene or in the shop window in Roseville's like main square. So, I mean, even though it's the 4th time we're going to this one, I'd gladly take it over the shop window, because I do not like that stupid shop window. And I mean, this final segment is a lot easier because it's all scenes you've seen before, except for the 2 jeweled hearts, but the other 8 are all places you've already been. Some you've already visited twice, though it is nice that it does give some of the single appearance locations a chance to show up again. Oh, nothing there. Nothing in the schoolhouse. Nothing there. Nothing there. Wow. Pretty weird RNG. Nothing at the kitchen, but there is one here in the front. And most of the scenes have the potential to show up here, but there are some that only show up in their designated points and don't show up at all in the Jeweled Heart quest. And the locations that are guaranteed to only appear once, or however many times they're given, is the tool shelf, the manor trunk, the kitchen cupboard, the cable car, the graveyard by the cliffs, the cottage cupboard, the attic, the library, the Emma statue, and that's it. Though, of course, the cottage cupboard and Emma statue do have a thing to collect from it. And it makes sense that the attic doesn't show up again, because you would just get confused going to it for thinking it was the record, but then it actually isn't. But, see, that's a time saver, because both hidden object scenes in the upper floors of the mansion and even the kitchen cupboard one don't ever show up again, so you don't even need to search those places. And you might be wondering, well, MCFPapa, where did you get all this information? And it's something I made probably 5 years ago, just playing the game a ton and looking and recording like the randomness, because I noticed that there was a pattern to it. Oh, by the way, if the front door isn't the location for the disco ball heart, it'll show up in the sandbox in the twins area. And there's the plush red heart. And if the plush red heart doesn't show up here at the front gate, it'll show up in the dollhouse in the twins' room. A green tomato. That's interesting. I guess they did that just to stump you, because you would obviously expect a red tomato. Okay. There we go. And I guess it isn't gonna do the glitch with lightning strike. Though it is a very nice touch that they put in the effort to have lightning strikes flashing in a lot of locations. And oh boy, we get to do this scene yet again. What fun. Now, if the heart isn't found here, this wood panel heart, it's actually found in the toy counter in the twins' toy shop place. Get the privilege of visiting this place for a 4th time. Except at least now, like, you're exploring all over to find the jeweled hearts, so you will come across this scene. Now for hearts, we're up to 7. And now I wouldn't even need to go here because I know that it never spawns a hidden object scene there, but just for the sake of demonstration, just like over here, never spawns. I'm not in the kitchen, so now to go down to the old ship. Because, yep, there is one here. That shark looked like it was having trouble swimming. But now, if the heart isn't found here, it'll be found in the toy house on the tea table where the tea party's happening. I guess it's not really a toy house, it's a gingerbread house. I don't know why, like, I wrote toy house down on my notes 5 years ago. Kinda funny, I have like a bunch of graph paper in my desk, but I don't think I've ever used it for any graphing related purposes. I've always just used it as scrap paper when I'm making notes and playing video games. Pretty morbid, a skull like embedded into the rock. I wonder what the deal is with this old ship. Is it something that Charles caused to wreck, or is it just a random coincidence that it crashed here? And now there's this scene, which can potentially be having a jeweled heart. And if the jewel heart isn't here, it'll be in the bathroom in Roseville with the mannequin. I love to break and fix its neck. I guess maybe we took the ribbon just to mess with Victor so he wouldn't know his place in his book. I don't know why they had to say swallow. Like, they could have just said bird. There isn't any other birds in this scene you'd get confused with. I wonder if that bacon was salvageable. Like, just fry it up. It's probably still good to eat. Alright, and now we're at 9 of the hearts. The 10th one is the one with black flowers, which should be in the smuggler's boat on the middle floor of here. Yep. What did I tell you? I haven't actually tried it out to see what happens if you've actually, like, not bothered to do the hidden object scenes in the places with typewriter keys that you don't actually need. I would assume, like, the game would just still spawn in scenes as normal, but expect you to do the first one with the typewriter key and then do the jeweled heart. But it might actually be able to be manipulated, because if the smuggler's boat isn't where the jeweled heart is, it'll be in the schoolhouse. So maybe if, like, the typewriter key scene... Well, this is a bad example, because this one had the R key, which you actually do need. But, like, for example, if it's in the beauty parlor, would it force you to go to the shop window to find the gray flower heart? I'm not sure. Might be worth giving this some thought and testing it out, because I certainly have the time for it, considering best case scenario this will be uploaded like in October 2023, a year and 2 months from now. I called it black flowers, but it's not that flowery, really. But just know, if you had to find something in the school, then you don't actually need to exit the elevator on that floor. You can go straight to here. Can slot them in anywhere, it doesn't matter, there's no pattern or puzzle for them. And the door is open, ooh boy. Now, even though, like, Charles is portrayed by Dennis Kleinsmith, the same actor who portrays him in Escape from Ravenhearst, he, like, gives Charles a completely different sort of personality in that game. I guess in here he was basing it more on how Charles acted in Madame Fate. Now this final puzzle's pretty interesting, though there's Gwendolyn and Charlotte meter and a Rose meter, but then there's a mystery meter. I wonder if they were intending on showing that Charles had taken some other victim? Or maybe it goes back to what I was saying before in the book, that maybe Charles had actually kept Emma imprisoned. I don't know. I also don't know the expiration date for the soul juice, because, like, Rose's gauge is full, and Charlotte's is like half full. Gwendolyn's is empty, but then the mystery gauge is full too. So I don't know what's up with that. And then once you progress a certain point, you cause the heart to open up, and then cracks slowly start to appear. Which is a nice touch to show that, oh, you're making it. Oh, CD plus ER is even written there. Huh. I never noticed that. It's a nice touch. So I guess the tree in Dire Grove wasn't the first appearance of CD plus ER. This puzzle isn't that hard to figure out. You just gotta, like, go back and forth. And, like, if it's not going to show up the right spot, you gotta go all the way through the numbers to actually do it. And then you gotta go all the way back. It's not that hard, just kinda time consuming. In fact, I could have just solved the 15 when I was up there instead of going all the way back with it. Because now, see, with the 16, it makes sense that you need to go back with it. Alright, and now just to scroll it back around to 1, 2, 3, and it'll be good. And I have no idea why the sound effects are so loud when you actually solve this puzzle. But I'll try to turn the volume down some in editing. Oh, and Emma shows up at the very end there. And like here in the bloopers, though, you can see how bad the green screen effects look on them when they don't have the ghost appearance. And you can see how they saved money by, instead of actually hiring twins to play Gwendolyn and Charlotte, they just hired one girl and had her play both of them. which works. It's just really inspired of them to actually decide to incorporate live actors into this game. Because, like, live action FMVs in video games, like, they were really a product of, like, the 90s with some of the stuff, like Night Trap or the sort of games you saw on the 3DO, but by 2008 and stuff, like, they were like not really a thing anymore at all. So it was really interesting that they chose to do them for Return to Ravenhearst, and then the rest of the MCF games that Big Fish Studios worked on. And even though the live actors aren't the be-all, end-all for why the Big Fish Studios games are so much better than the games that came in later, they are like a significant contributor to it. And in that previous blooper with Charles, you could see that photo that they showed at the end of the game of him with little baby Victor was actually like just a still from a video. And I assume this is like recording the green screen for Victor reading the book in the movie theater. And of course there's this, which is the hint for the phone, which is 3 blind mice, 4 cardinal directions, the world's wonders, which is 7, then 1, 2, 6, 8, which is how you solve it. And the capital letters in the message spell out phone. And it's interesting that there wasn't that many people who worked on this game, so like, they show the bloopers, but the credits have to scroll through multiple times to even get through all the credits. But anyway, shout out to the Deutsche Film Orchestra in Berlin, because, man, what a great soundtrack this game has. The Mystery Case Files theme in Return to Ravenhearst was so good that, like, every other Ravenhearst game has to use it. And some of the non-Ravenhearst games also use it. And they might as well, because it is fantastic. And you can tell just from these bloopers that the actors just had a blast doing this. And it's a real shame that none of them really went on to do anything that major. And anyway, that's it for them. So it takes a little over 3 times through the credits to actually get through all the bloopers. And, okay, that's a fun fact that I didn't know about. I just did it MCFPapa YT, because that's my non-commentary playthrough. And so, I wanted to distinguish it, but if the name's too long, it'll actually go onto a second line and make the whole thing glitch out. That's something I never knew. And then if you want to watch the credits again, there's available here, just as a scroll. Now, there's also a link to buy the soundtrack or the strategy guide, which were both sold separately, interestingly enough. So, anyway, that'll do it for Return to Ravenhearst, so like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next series. I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I did making it. Bye. But wait, there's more. I'd like to show off a few things found within the soundtrack you can download, because not only is there the music to the game, which is 16 tracks long, but there's also a few videos and some images I'd like to show off. So first of all, there's the standard tracks that you hear in the game, but then there's also a couple other tracks you don't hear in the game that are just bonus. This is the first one. So that was Ravenhearst, and then there's another track called Metalhearst. It sounds pretty similar to Ravenhearst, except it's actually a lot slower. But what's notable about Metalhearst is it would get reused in Fate's Carnival and also in Escape from Ravenhearst for the credits. So that's the music, and then for videos, here's the first one called Landmarks. I guess this is like the Big Fish Studios employees touring Berlin. Or maybe they just went on a vacation paid for by Big Fish Studios using the excuse, oh, we really need to oversee what the orchestra is doing. I mean, this really doesn't have much of anything to do with the behind the scenes of the game or anything. They just wanted to show off their travel footage, I guess. And I mean, the Ravenhearst music does fit pretty well there. I'll give him that. Oh, this is landmarks again. Accidentally didn't hit forward. This one's called recording, and this actually is like behind the scenes. But I'm still not done, because there's some concept art to get through. First of all, there's this, which is titled Charles in Chamber, and it seems like they just used Charles's look from the end of Madame Fate for the mock-up of how they wanted the chamber to look. And they didn't even have, like, the time machine asset created yet. So maybe that came in later on. This picture is apparently of the conductor, I guess, who conducted the orchestra. Here's concept art of the front entrance, which seems pretty accurate to how it actually turned out. Though I think you can see more of the upper railing than you actually can in the final game. Here's concept art of the garden path, which seems pretty similar, except for the fact it's more centered on the door. And also, I don't remember this huge statue being here. There in the final game. Here's some for the general store. Seems like maybe the aisle was intended originally to be less cluttered and there wasn't a doll's head to pop off. It looks like a little rabbit in that barrel. Now this is a really cool piece of art, the Hilltop Mansion. And this actually would get reused in Fate's Carnival in the bonus game as a Spot the Difference mini-game. But it looks really nice. I wonder if they were actually planning on having a shot of Ravenhearst like from a far distance to see like the caves, or maybe this was just more concept art to figure out how the logistics would all be linked together. And now there's this one, and it's pretty pixelated, but there's quite a lot of stuff on here. Here's like the same picture again, but now this shot, I think it's supposed to be concept art for the title screen, actually. It's apparently the house without an E on it, but it looks like there were more lights on in the mansion initially in concepts. And now here's the front gate, and it looks a lot more like overgrown, and there looks to be like some sort of haunting, like possessing the statues above the lights, because they even have like evil red eyes to them. And of course the most notable concept art is this for a garden, because there actually wasn't a garden in the final game, unless you count the like path to the gravesite and view of the cliffs. But this looks completely different to how that place with the angel with the X turned out. And now this, it seems to be an even earlier concept for the front porch, because here you can really see the upper floor of the mansion. And then here's some concept art for the kitchen, which seems like its perspective was slightly changed, and also there apparently was a fire burning in it in concepts. Here's Roseville, and it could be just concept art, but it looks like there was quite a lot more buildings in the town rather than just like the general store, the beauty parlor, and the other storefront. And then here's a shot of the orchestra, and as you can see they had like the image of the main gate in the background, I guess for inspiration. And then here's people in the studio while the orchestra is playing. And then here's some for the playground area, and this is really interesting because like this is clearly the toy shop, and like the slide and the sandbox and these rocking things are all there, but the swing set isn't there in the final game, and in this concept art there's nothing for the schoolhouse. I wonder if that was a later addition they made, or if maybe you were actually supposed to go down the path, and instead of just going directly to the gingerbread house, it actually went to the schoolhouse first. Not sure, but that's all for the concept art. And all of this stuff, instead of being sold as a separate game, would have just been included in a collector's edition if this game came out when collector's editions were a thing. So with that, now this series is finally complete, so like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next one.